Yes, one more time, welcome back to my monologue podcast. Today, I want to speak on a very, very, very unique subject um, regarding religion versus behavioral human resources management. Because studies shows that behavioral human resources management, this is a way how human beings um, behave from one generation to another. And these are some of the uh, human resources management demographics, or is spread on certain about 4 generation demographics, so to speak. One thing human beings should remember when it comes to religion, even the politics, and even social lifestyle, and the human way of behavior. These are some of the things that are spread all across all the very important about 5 generational demographics. Now, let me not talk in a way that I can complicate this subject. Let me bring it really home. At this point in time that we are in, this is the year 2026. I want you to reflect back, and I want to remind you that we have about 5 very active, actually 4 very active generations. What do I mean by 4 very active generations? That is, after the Second World War, that is, we cannot talk anything back from 1940s backward, because that generation almost is wiped out in the world. So I'm saying we have 5 main active generations. The generation that is before the Second World War, that is the First World War, is almost wiped out. Few people are there. What am I saying? I know you are wondering, what is he talking about? I'm talking about this. Imagine like this. 90 years from now, or 100 years from now. Okay, let me be precise. 150 years from now as I'm speaking to you, nobody will be living in this planet Earth. Get me right. I'm saying count from today. Count from today. 150 years coming, no one will be in this planet Earth. This is what I mean. We shall have completely a new generation. We shall have completely new people. All of us will be gone. Even a child born today, by the time we get to about 150 years coming, nobody. All those millions, the trillions of people will have died or will have relocated. That is now, I've almost gone to religion. So, what I'm saying, religion Presently, even in politics, religion is being affected by the demographic human resources management. So it's very important to realize in what generation are you in so that you can introduce a subject which is relevant. For example, in Kenya, okay, I said we have only 4 generations which are very active. The first generation is the baby boomers. The baby boomers, these are people who were born around after the Second World War. People who were born after the Second World War, that is 1940s to around 60s or 70 something, 79, around there. Those are the people we call baby boomers generation. And why they are being referred to us as baby boomers generation, this is a generation when the entire world had settled down because the Second World War had ended. So people, they were busy making children because they were busy. They were idle. They were at home. They could sleep in the house. That is after the Second World War. That is why that generation is being referred to us as baby boomers. They manufactured babies during that period of time. Now, that is the first generation, which I said we have 4 generations which are very active in the world to date. The second generation is Generation X. This Generation X actually is the generation which I belong to. People who are born 60s up to around 1980s, 1982, around there. They are called Generation X. Why these people are being named Generation Baby Boomers and Generation X and Millennial and Gen Z and Millennium? Millennium. No. Excuse me. Generation Baby Boomers generation. We have Generation X, which I belong to, and we have Generation Millennial. And we have now the worst generation, so to speak, is Gen Z. And then Alpha. Those are, I say, are the 4 main active generations in the world today. For example, in Kenya, when Kenya attained independence during the time of Kenyatta, the first president, and at the time of Moi, those people had the mentality of colonialism. Okay, they had a mentality of colonialism. Actually, that is during my time. That is why some of us, we ran away from Kenya, because this man who was the president, who was a dictator. You know, it was sort of Africans colonizing their fellow Africans. You know what happened during those days? Moi could wake up one morning and declare something and say, nimesema ya kwamba, and it is put into law. So during that time, because the leaders of those days, they were close to colonialism. So their mentality, they were under the influence of slavery. And that is why during the time of Moi, people, we were enslaved. We were sort of slaves, actually. We were not being managed well. You were being told, this is what you'll do. This is your salary, no question. If you are given 200 shillings as your monthly salary, you have no question. Working conditions during those days, you could not ask anything. even if you get injured while you are on duty. That is during that time of Moi. So what I'm saying is this: religion also is being affected by these demographics. There are people, there's one thing which theologians, they don't know. They don't take into consideration. There were days, there were times when people could not ask any question. Whatever you say, people used to say yes. But the days that we are living in today, you are not going to be let go. If you talk about religion, if you talk about the things of God, we are supposed to ask you some questions. And here, when you are being asked questions, when we don't go along with you, you feel like these people are agents of Satan. They are agents of the devil. My friend preachers and theologians, it's because of the time that we are living in. You have to adjust your preaching. You have to adjust your teachings. You can't be telling people, amen, 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 and then they respond, yes, yes, yes. As a matter of fact, let me submit to you this. Time has come when you stand even to preach. If you are not preaching something sensible, someone is going to raise up his hand and say, Mr. Preacher Man, that one doesn't make sense. And you have to be ready for that. You have to be prepared for that. Time way back, that's when you are able to dictate the past generations. The only people now you are playing with their mind, in fact, is Generation X. That is the only generation you people, you are playing with their minds. Because Generation X, the people of my time, these are the people who can humble themselves and they listen to you and they say yes. But when you come to this other, and actually Generation X and Generation Millennium, these are the only generation who can listen to you. Now, when it comes to Generation Gen Z, Gen Z means Generation Zoomers. They are called Generation Zoomers because these are people who were born during digital time. They were born actually, they went to school with the knowledge of computer. So they zoom things. That's why they are called Generation Z or Z. Gen Z. They are called Gen Z because they zoom. When you are looking here, that's Generation Zoom. They are looking ahead. They zoom things from far. So these 4 generations and Generation Alpha are the 4 generations which are very, very active. Even in politics, they don't take into consideration that they are living in 4 generations so that they will know how to adjust on these demographics. They don't take that into account. We have people who are learned. Some of them, they are called, PhD, so and so PhD, I don't know, in human resources. But these people, they just go to school. They don't want to put that knowledge into practice. They don't, especially Africans. You will find an African is called Dr. So-and-so. In fact, in Kenya, we have so many people with the title Dr. So-and-so. But if you ask them what they are doing in that doctorate, nothing. It's just a title. They have been given that title. Especially, again, in religious circles. Religious circles, they have so many doctors. Dr. Bishop so and so, Dr. Reverend so and so, Dr. blah 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 blah. If you ask him what have you done with that doctorate, nothing. You can't even challenge. I can't even sit to talk to him because he has nothing. So most Africans, yes, they have earned that doctorate degree, but they are doing nothing with it. The people I respect are the doctors, medical doctors, because they can do surgery. Actually, there you can say he is a doctor. He can do heart surgery, he can do bone surgery, he can do knee surgery. Yes, he's a neurologist. Yes, he can do operation on your brain. Those are doctors. But these fake doctors in religion go and bury those doctorates, bury them down. Other countries like overseas, they don't use that title at all. Every religious leader is known as a preacher or a pastor. But these people here in Kenya, you people, you have earned those doctorates. There's nothing. You can't invent anything. You can't even argue with me, though I don't have that doctorate. It's just a name. And when you are being addressed as Dr. So-and-so, please, listen to me, those people with those doctorates. When you go overseas, if you go to Europe, especially if you go to America, don't hide that thing. Don't tell them that you are Dr. So-and-so during introduction. If you want to make sure what I'm saying is true, find out. Get an invitation to America and stand to introduce yourself as Dr. So-and-so. You will see the whole congregation looking at each other. Look at this fool from Africa. In those countries, people hide their doctorate wherever they have earned. And I'm warning you, people in Kenya, people in Africa who like calling themselves Dr. Reverend so-and-so, Dr. Bishop so-and-so, stop that nonsense. Put that doctorate down. Because you cannot argue. Actually, you cannot discuss with somebody, with a Gen Z, in the things of the Bible. They know way much more than you do. You know is about hallelujah, amen. That's all you know. I'm very honest to you. Some of you, in fact, you have even misled the masses. Masses of people have been misled by you guys. You don't want people to have independent thinking. Guys, I'm warning human beings wherever you are, whichever part of the world you are, whether you are in Europe, you are in the United Kingdom, you are in America. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you one thing that I realized these first world countries. There's one thing I realized. When it comes to matters of religion, they know nothing. They don't know anything. Actually, even Africans are better than them. They don't know nothing. There are some people in those countries you go, you ask him, are you a Christian? Even he doesn't know what is Christianity. They don't know. But with us Africans, we were raised in that environment. In those countries, some people, they were not raised in such an environment. They don't know about Christianity. You are telling them something which is completely foreign. I had friends. When I used to talk about Christ, they look at me like, hey, what are you talking about? I would have heard that from my mom or from my dad. I never heard about that. You're talking about Christianity? Oh, those are religions which I've heard of them. For example, it is this way. In Kenya right now, or in Africa, when you talk of Confucianism, okay, you talk of Buddhists. People don't know. It's the same thing. There are people now who are Christians, who are believers of God, but when you tell them about Buddhists, they don't know. They don't know anything about that. If you talk about Confucius, Gautama Buddha, Socrates, they are like, what are you talking about? You see? So it's the same way. Okay? I will continue from there.